Sixth Media Coordination Meeting of African Union holds in Ghana, and federal government continues drive to strengthen international business relations across all sectors. These are some of the stories this afternoon on Panorama, and my name is Justin Bemunyi. Well, thank you so much for joining us. President Bola Tinubu is departing Abuja for Accra, Ghana today to participate in the 6th Media Coordination Meeting of the African Union, the Regional Economic Communities RECs, and the regional mechanisms, as well as the African Union member states. In his capacity as the chairman of ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, President Tinubu will address the meeting on the status of regional integration across various areas in Africa, highlighting the achievements and challenges encountered in West Africa since the last meeting in Nairobi, Kenya in July 2023. He is also to present the 2024 report on the state of the community, focusing on peace, regional security, governance, economic integration, humanitarian and social development, energy, mines and agriculture. The meeting is under the AU theme of the year 2024, Educate and Skill Africa for the 21st Century. In Accra, the items on the agenda will include evaluating the AU's early warning and conflict prevention mechanisms and promoting cooperation among regional economic communities to accelerate integration. A declaration will be adopted at the end of the meeting. In the meantime, President Bola Tinubu congratulates Justice Stella Anukam on her re-election as judge of the African Court on Human and People's Rights for another term of 6 years. Justice Anukam was re-elected at the African Union Media Coordination Meeting, Executive Council in Accra, Ghana, on Friday. Justice Anukam has served as a former Director of Special Programs at the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies in Abuja, Nigeria, and as former Director of the International and Comparative Law Department of the Federal Ministry of Justice. The President states that his administration will continue to support the candidature of competent and qualified Nigerians for international positions, noting the country's strategic importance in the global community. The African Court on Human and People's Rights is a continental court established by African states to ensure the protection of human and people's rights in Africa. It complements the functions of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights. Nigeria is a state party to the protocol establishing the court, having ratified it in 2004. Nigeria and South Africa have condemned ongoing conflict in Sudan, urging an immediate ceasefire and a peaceful resolution to the crisis. A joint statement by Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tuga, and his South African counterpart, Ronald Lamola, points out that the crisis has led to loss of innocent civilian lives, exacerbated the humanitarian crisis, displaced millions of people, affecting women and children, and resulted to total destruction of critical infrastructure. The two ministers expressed their concerns on the sidelines of the African Union Executive Council meeting in Accra, while reiterating their commitment in expanding and deepening their bilateral cooperation in various sectors. The bond between the two countries reveals the existing cordial working relationship in regional and continental matters towards peace and security on the African continent. The joint statement also highlights the urgent need for the international community to address the crisis. Nigeria is expecting an additional investment worth over $10 billion from a private company in the oil and gas industry. This was revealed after President Bola Tinubu's meeting with a delegation of NTA, an Italian multinational energy company, at the State House. State House correspondent Musbao Danwahab reports that Ante National Hydrocarburi, NTA, has been in Nigeria since 1962, but some operational bottlenecks have reportedly hindered their operation in recent time. After the meeting with President Tinubu, Minister of State for Petroleum Oil, Heineken Lokbubiri, disclosed that the issues have been resolved.
About the issues, NNPC, NUPRC, Attorney General's office, Minister of Petroleum, all of us were involved in resolving all the issues, and I believe that we have agreed. And very soon we'll come and brief the President formally about the outcome of it. Having just, had a deal with Owando, to exit their onshore assets, I've decided to come and then play big in the offshore, in the deep water.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with what they are bringing on board, especially as it will affect gas, because gas is the direction that we are going right now. And we are moving into a new Nigeria with gas evolution.
Key players in the sector attribute the headway being recorded in this direction to the conducive environment being created by the Tinubu's administration.
Mr. President, reforms are working. We are seeing sustained return of our partners into the investment field, and we are seeing increasing participation and interest to invest in our country, and this is also showing up in our current performances.
We are implementing the reforms of Mr. President that relates to the initiatives that incentives that have been granted, and that is creating sanity and confidence in the mind of investors.
President Bola Tinubu is promising that federal government will continue to ensure that investments in key sectors of the economy follow clear timeliness and are impactful on the lives of citizens. President Tinubu, who received the management of the Aluminium Smelter Company of Nigeria, Alscon, led by the chairman, Alexei Anotov, at the State House, said the government is keen on reviving the smelter company in Ikotabasi, Akwa Ibom State. President Tinubu emphasized the need for clear vision and detailed plans in the steel and energy sector, adding that there must be timeliness. President Tinubu directed the Minister of Steel Development, Prince Shuaibu Audu, and the Special Advisor to the President on Energy, Ms. Olu Verhagen, to review and provide an update on the status of Alscon. In a statement by the Presidential Advisor on Media and Publicity, Ajurin Gelale, the chairman of Alscon assured the President of the preparedness of management to turn around the fortunes of the company within a given period of injecting $500 million. Anotov said the management is aware of the centrality of aluminium in modern development, particularly for Nigeria, and would continue to support the growth of the country. Now, President Bola Tinubu has charged security agencies in the country to strengthen cooperation towards checkmating all forms of insecurity in Nigeria. Now, this was at a routine security meeting at the State House with heads of security agencies in the country. After the meeting held behind closed doors, Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun told State House correspondents that the President expressed satisfaction over improvement in security situation within the country.
As Inspector General of Police, I have the records of all reported crimes across the country, and I can tell you that crime rate is declining in Nigeria. Records don't lie. The records are there. So I can assure you that we continue to do whatever we are doing to maintain the decline in the crime rate.
Similarly, Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa emphasized the commitment of the security agencies towards restoring crude production to full capacity, soliciting for the cooperation of the residents in this direction.
We are targeting 2.1 million barrels per day, which is achievable. So we are taking steps to ensure that all that is required to be done is done. The president is fully aware of the cries and hues of the communities, and he's not going to let them down. The communities should rest assured that steps are going to be taken to address their grievances so that productions will continue. And for the criminals, those ones that are hell-bent in destroying our infrastructure, stealing our crude for whatever reason, the days are numbered. They should rest assured that we're coming after them, and want to assure Nigerians that we all need to put hands together to achieve this success. Nobody can do it alone.
Minister of Budget and National Planning, Atiku Bagudu, says the projects captured in the proposed 6.2 trillion amendment to the 2024 Appropriation Act are innovative, as they would show up revenue through increased economic activities. He said this during an engagement with the Senate Committee on Appropriation. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
2 days after President Tinubu transmitted to the National Assembly the proposed amendments to the 2024 Appropriation Act to make room for key infrastructure projects and the national minimum wage, the lawmakers are engaging the Minister of Budget and National Planning for details. Atiku Bagudu explains that the review is part of President Tinubu's resolve to confront infrastructure deficit, which is why projects such as the Lagos-Calabar, the Trans-Sahara and the Sokoto-Badagry highways feature in the amendments.
This is where the proposed sum of 6.222 trillion will be deployed. These are roads which cumulatively cross 23 states and which we believe are transformational, the Sokoto-Calabar as well as the Lagos-Calabar, the Sokoto-Badagry as well as the Lagos-Calabar, we believe will be catalytic in terms of economic activity and investment in both areas.
It's divided into two, 3 trillion to recurrent and 3.2 trillion to renewed group infrastructure and critical infrastructure. No borrowing plan has been identified to fund this budget. It is being funded as a result of increase in revenue.
The meeting was an opportunity for lawmakers to seek insight on some other economic policies of governments.
The gas revolution in terms of CNG, and we as a legislature, we also think that there should be a legal framework put in place for the implementation of this program.
The funds budgeted for in the supplementary 2024 budget, is it to cover the design phase or the flag off of the construction proper?
The proposed 70,000, will this proposal cover it? And you have answered it.
The committee asked the minister to provide more information from ministries, departments and agencies of government that would execute the projects to enable early approval of the amendments. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
The Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, under the leadership of its President General, His Eminence the Sultan of Sokoto, Mohammed Saad Abubakar, has promised to continue to provide advisory guidance to leadership and leaders at all levels for the entrenchment of good values and well-being of the society. This was during a familiarization visit by the Ohinoi of Igbiraland to the Council Secretariat in Abuja. Abdullahi Ajia reports that the Sultan was represented by the Secretary General of the Council, Professor Ishaq Oloyede.
Away from the comforts of his palace and kingdom, the paramount ruler of Ibira land and coordinator, North Central Traditional Rulers, Dr. Ahmed Tijani Mohammed, traveled miles across the Niger to the highest Muslim organization in Nigeria, Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs Office, where the Secretary General, Professor Ishaq Oloyede, received him and his entourage. In a wide exchange of brotherhood ideas, issues relating to peace, unity, justice and progress of the society were deliberated on.
Familiarize himself with the structure of the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs and the role he is expected to play in the state as the leader of the Muslim community, in addition to being the traditional ruler. And we are pleased and to receive him.
The Oyinohi of Ibira land, Dr. Ahmed Tijani Mohammed, who is barely 7 months on the throne, says the visit was part of his resolve to consult widely for people-oriented leadership.
If you don't move out, you won't be able to get it right. Not only the traditional affairs, up to the religious affairs, so that everything in Nigeria, we can get it right. To intensify more prayer to support the government.
The council urges him to be a good ambassador of Islam while having a successful reign on the seat of his forebearers. In Abuja, Abdullah Hajia, NTA News.
We'll now take a break on Panorama. More stories when we return. The Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, BON, has called on the federal government to declare a state of emergency on the nation's broadcast industry to avert what it describes as a total collapse of broadcasting stations in the country. And this was part of the communique issued at the end of its 79th General Assembly in Edo State. Jude Abugu reports that BON Chairman and Director General NTA Saliu Abdul Hamid Dembos was represented by the Group Managing Director of DAR Communications PLC, Anthony Akiotu.
The assembly was a platform for chief executive officers of broadcasting stations in the country to discuss numerous issues affecting the industry, which are forcing many stations to reduce their hours of transmission. BON Chairman and DG NTA, through his vice, appealed for more government support to revitalize the industry.
In an industry where your business relies heavily on third parties, where do you find the money to pay your power consumption as a band A consumer? Where do you find the money to buy diesel?
As we move forward, I pledge the full support of the NBC in addressing the challenges that lie ahead. We will strive to be transparent in our dealings, proactive in our engagements, and receptive to your feedback and suggestions.
The representative of Edo State Governor encouraged broadcasters to embrace new challenges and opportunities in the industry with open mind.
We're promoting free, independent, diverse media landscape, particularly during this critical time in the build-up to September 21 governorship election.
In a communique at the end of the assembly, BON further appealed for amendment to Schedule 4 of 1999 Constitution to enable NBC collect radio rates and suspension of demand of 2.9 earnings from broadcast stations, among others.
We urge the government to 1. Support the broadcast industry through the provision of CNG-powered generators to all BON member stations. 2. To subsidize by 50% electricity tariffs of members on a monthly basis.
The requests have been put out and we are quite confident that they will be addressed given the place of the media.
The 79th Assembly had navigating the challenges of broadcasting in Nigeria as its theme. In Benin, Jude Abugu, NTA News.
Spokespersons of political parties do not need continuous launch of a direct attack on the programs and activities of their opponents. Rather, they should practice politics using the power of words to project their own ideals. This is the view of the former Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, while speaking on redefining the role of a spokesman, his enduring engagement and romance with the practice of public relations. It was at a students' mentorship program, Department of Mass Communication, Olabisi Onabanjo University, Ago Iwe, Ogun State. Yemi Dalemo reports.
With Lai Mohammed at the Department of Mass Communication, Olabisi Onabanjo University, Agowe, was to mentor the students using key actors in Nigeria's political space who excelled in their public relations engagement, especially Alhaji Lai Mohammed, who from the spokesperson of the opposition party transformed into the spokesperson of the federal government.
We also want them to have live instances of interactions with news sources. Whether you like it or not, you know, these are people who have played active roles on the nation's political space.
There are two things to knowledge sharing. You can teach all the theories of this world, right? But I think people also need practical experience.
Alhaji Lai Mohammed, who took the students through his journey as a PR expert of over 30 years, says he redefined the role of spokesperson of AC, ACN and APC with the use of the power of words to knife opposition parties' ideas, program and activities, while also investing in analytical research.
I hope that my example will help them to realize that you can use PR as a profession and attain the highest position in life. Everywhere I've been, either spokesperson for the party or for the federal government, it's been PR.
Upcoming media and PR practitioners at the lecture say they have been inspired by Alhaji Lai Mohammed as the engagement with them is fruitful.
Communication should be the right way in order to tackle it, not using knife. I remember one of the statements saying you use words to knife down wrongdoings and not using knife on its own. So our words are powerful.
He was able to apply the principles of public relations, and with his tenacity, was able to provide solutions to some of the issues that was brought up.
The Mass Communication Department notes that the forum, apart from Lai Mohammed mentorship, is to also celebrate him and highlight his numerous contributions to nation building. In Abuja, Yemi Dalemo, NTA News.
The National Chairman, African Democratic Congress, ADC, Ralph Oke Nwosu, has called on the National Assembly to complete the process of amending relevant sections of the electoral law to allow the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to conduct local government council elections. This is to ensure full autonomy of the third tier of government in the country. The chairman of the party stated this at a colloquium organized for party members in the 6 area councils of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Abuja.
When I remember the local government, I want to appreciate the President, Bola Tinubu, for one thing that at least now he championed, making sure now that the allocations, and which he did through the judiciary. But I give more kudos to the judiciary. The judiciary has done a very wonderful job by saying that all allocations to the local government must go to their local government account.
Ralph Oke Nwosu also commended members of the party FCT Chapter for their accomplishments and charged them to work towards winning the next area council elections and transform the party from being government in waiting to party in government. Next is sports update. A sports update there ends Panorama. Thank you so much for being a part of it. My name is Justin Bemwi.